Speaking of which, we are headed to OTAs tomorrow. It is day one. I guess no pads, but still first day. Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, Najee Harris, Jaylen Warren. No Cam Hayward showing up for OTAs as he waits for a contract. What are you looking for? What are you looking for day one, Steelers OTAs as we head to the south side?
Yeah, I think the most interesting thing to me is that slot cornerback battle. I think, you've got at least four names that I think you could consider as options there, or I guess three. I'll say three names. I think Beanie Bishop, uh, no, yeah, four names. I was right. Anthony Averett, Beanie Bishop, and then Corey Trice and Darius Rush. I think all of those guys have realistic chances to be your starting slot corner, and just kind of who emerges from that group. I mean, you've got an interesting mix of guys there. You've got, Averett, who's been there and done that. He's been a starting corner in the NFL before, and he's the veteran. Then you've got, Rush and Trice, who are technically second-year guys, technically veterans, but neither of them have actually stepped onto an NFL field before. And then Beanie Bishop, the kind of darling, rookie that everyone seems to love and everyone has high hopes for. Which of these guys actually stands out? Which of these guys separates themselves? How many of these guys, they're not going to do it on day one, but I think we're going to get an early indication of who's leading that competition early, who they trust more right away. And it could, I don't know who it's going to be. I mean, I feel like Averett is the favorite right now, but he's a guy who hasn't been in Pittsburgh before. He's kind of on some similar footing to the rest of these guys. It's not like he has a leg up in terms of knowing the scheme, whereas, Darius Rush or Corey Trice might as well. But Beanie Bishop is, I don't know, I'd argue Beanie Bishop is maybe the most talented of the three, or of the four. So I think it could go in any number of directions, and that's what I'm excited to see play out.
Yeah, I think you just kind of steer off that. I think it's a good indication. It'll allow us to kind of get an understanding of whether or not the Steelers need to go back out and add somebody else. If Beanie Bishop looks good and you're like, oh, okay, look, for an undrafted guy, this dude does not look like an undrafted rookie. If that's a good sense. If Corey Trice looks good, if Darius Rush looks a lot better than last season, if Averett looks like a pro, like a dude who, like an injury kind of derailed his career, but that doesn't mean it's the end of his career. If that's the case, then I think we'll get some glimpse of that in OTAs, or at least the first week of OTAs. I think at the other side of that, you could walk into there and we could leave first couple days and be like, okay, the Steelers desperately need a slot corner. There's no denying it. These guys are just not good enough. And, granted, you might be facing like Calvin Austin on the other side of that, or Scotty Miller or Quez Watkins, but if they're getting smoked by those guys, there's probably no chance Jamar Chase or Stephon Diggs or any of those guys hold any ground, or they could hold any ground against those guys come the season. So I agree with that. I will be glued to the cornerback position just because, just for what you said, like who's the leader, who's the guy that we're watching, and at the same time, do you need more guys there if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers? Mine's on the other side of the football. Everybody's talking about, there's reports coming out this week about, the Justin Fields is going to get more reps than we anticipate with the Steelers. Is this Russell Wilson's team? Blah, blah, blah. Everybody's got those bold predictions. I said it last week. I'll say it again. Are the Steelers going to be as in on Justin Fields as everybody wants them to be, or are they going to be all in on Russell Wilson? Because that's literally all they've said, is that we're in on Russell Wilson and he will be in pole position, and Justin Fields will get an opportunity when that time comes, but this is Russell Wilson's job to lose. I just want to know where that stands. Where's the baseline? Where are we starting from? Where's the, okay, Justin just got 10 snaps today and Russell got 40. Okay, cool. Or is it, this is an evenly split and Justin's actually getting first team reps, and maybe this is an open competition or more of a competition than we see? Right now, it's expected that there's not a quarterback competition. People are just trying to force feed us there's going to be a quarterback competition. We'll get the first look at that tomorrow, and that's what I'm looking at. Is there a real quarterback competition or not?
Yeah, and this is kind of the time to do it. I feel like if you're the Steelers, this is, I would try to gather as much information as possible as I can right now and try to have a very firm decision by the start of training camp. I don't want a competition to get in the way of, Russ getting real reps with everyone, getting some work in, pads in, getting to actually see what things look like in the lead up to the regular season. I don't want to have to spend the first 3 weeks or whatever figuring out, is Russ the guy, is Justin the guy? Let's try to do this now if we can. And I understand OTA is a pretty controlled environment. It's not exactly like training camp. You're going to learn a lot more during training camp, but man, let's just try to put this to bed now. And I feel like the Steelers are going to kind of it's going to look like there's a more obvious competition, but I think the Steelers are just going to try to exhaust their ways of getting to know Justin Fields a little bit, and they're going to try to learn everything they can about him now, as opposed to waiting down the line and seeing, and getting in the way of actual like season prep to figure out who their starting quarterback is.
Yep, exactly. And now is the time, just like you said, now is the time to do that, because you get to July, you get to August, and it's like, oh man, dude, Justin actually looks real good. Maybe we should have given him a shot. You're too deep. At that point, this is Russell Wilson's job, and he's going to hold on to the job. And we've said it so many times. Russell's not going to lose the job. Russell's not going to come in here and look bad. That's just not going to happen. He's a veteran quarterback, and this is a sport where the quarterbacks aren't going to do anything. You're not going to get touched. You're not going to face real crazy pressure. And if you do face real crazy pressure, you get to stand in there or run around and not get tackled for as long as you need to before you could throw the football. So I don't think Russ loses the job. The Steelers need to have an understanding of, should Justin Fields get a shot to win it. And I don't know. I don't know if that's where they stand and if they're going to actually do that. But I think tomorrow we will get an understanding of whether or not they will or not. And that's where my eyes are glued to.